I wanted to talk about a few of the most common things that I see when auditing ad accounts, specifically e-commerce ad accounts. And again, this is just a collection of the several e-commerce accounts, per week that I'm auditing, and just the patterns that I see. Obviously, there's nuances to it. There's different changes for different accounts. Not every account is the same, but if I had to kind of dumb it down to three of the most common mistakes, that's really what this video is for. And hopefully can just recover some revenue for you, some quick wins. So yeah, I'll jump right into it. So the first thing is, and you might have heard this elsewhere, but just having accurate conversion tracking. In today's day and age with e-commerce, again, if you're on a Shopify site, WooCommerce site, it is not too complicated to get conversion tracking set up. There's a few different ways you can do it, and this is the way that we want it to be set up. So for any given e-commerce account, we always want to be optimizing for purchases. Again, unless you drive phone calls as well. It depends on the type of business, but typically you want to be optimizing for purchases. And again, where we look right here, where I want you to focus on is action optimization. And what will happen is you might have a Google Analytics for imported purchase conversion, and you might also have one directly through like a plugin, like for example in Shopify, the Google and YouTube app. And what'll happen is both of these are on primary. So what primary means, it means your campaigns are optimizing for this conversion. But every time a purchase happens, it's going to count it twice. So what it's going to look like is that in your actual ad account, you look like you're driving twice as much revenue. So you're really just optimizing off of incorrect data or double what you would actually be getting. And so, I mean, I always have one conversion on primary, one on secondary, if we're talking about purchases. And if you have phone calls as well, you'd want that as on primary. The key is anything that drives revenue or is, again, a lead, for example, for you, that should always be on primary. And the idea is that you feed the algorithm with data so that you're not just stuck bidding on traffic, but you indicate to it, this is the type of person we want to go after because they made XYZ transaction or it resulted in a good lead. Because it was a solid phone call, and we want to indicate that to the algorithm. So that's how you're really able to progress within an account. But what I was going to here was when we have kind of two conversions set to primary, you're essentially double optimizing. I've seen this a ton of times. It's very, very easy to fix this. All you do is click on it, settings, and then you can change it right here. And you can read the description here as well. I'm not going to go over it, but that's really the explanation of it. That's what I'm typically seeing. Moving on to number two. Number two, what I see, the segmentation is incorrect to the point that, again, you're just overpaying for clicks that you shouldn't be paying for. So what I'm going to get into is Performance Max, where that's where a lot of people are spending a lot of money. That's where you're gonna be running the shopping feed, because that's really the easiest way to do it through Performance Max. That's Google's kind of campaign that they're pushing. But what they don't tell you, and it's a little sneaky, you have to add a brand exclusion. If you don't add a brand exclusion, what's going to happen in this campaign is Google's just going to keep pushing. It's going to keep looking after the easiest traffic to convert, because that's what Performance Max campaign is. It's a bottom of funnel campaign, and it's Google looking for what's the easiest way for me to catch conversions across the funnel for this person. And that's obviously going to be branded traffic. Why? Because these people already know about you. So again, they're searching for you. It's easy for it to just pick it up. And the thing, if you'll notice with Performance Max as well, is you can't set a bid limit. So if you can't set a bid limit, you might be paying $10 for a branded click. Again, that's more an extreme case, but nonetheless, like, you want to be able to control a bid for your own brand. So that's one of the main kind of factors, is excluding your from Performance Max campaigns. And also the fact that it's not allowing you to scale, right? Because if you're seeing a 5x or a 6x in Performance Max, you're like, wow, I'm really doing great. And then you start to increase your budget, and then, well, you might just be scaling up your branded traffic that you're bidding on and converting for. So really, you're not driving like new customers. You're just paying for conversions that you would get anyway at a higher cost because you increased your budget. There's two ways to really do it. So you go to settings, then you go to brand exclusion right here, and then we want to exclude the brand. You can create a brand exclusion here. On the topic of this, the allow shopping ads on searches, I'll actually make a separate video on this, but you can create a branded shopping campaign. It's basically the exact same principle of showing up for branded traffic, but instead of it being search traffic, this is for shopping traffic as well. So same principle, right? If it's easy for, your brand is, if you have a lot of branded traffic, it's easy for Google to just bid on it and kind of use that as a cannibalization to get you more conversions and make it seem like you're actually converting better than you are. So again, the key thing that I want to emphasize is keeping your branded traffic separate from your kind of new customer acquisition campaigns. That all needs to be different. So that's where we have branded campaign, branded search campaign, branded shopping campaign. And again, I'll go through that in another video of how to set that up. Number three, I would say, is overpaying for clicks. And I think that's kind of what I mentioned at the start. I was funneling kind of into a brand exclusion, but I meant that in terms the bidding strategy that you're using. So if you're running search campaigns with shopping campaigns, this is impossible. What you'll notice at a campaign level is if you have your bid strategy at a campaign level, you actually might be paying way too much for clicks and you might see a really high CPC. And the way to do that, I mean, you can go through your search terms at the account level, sort by average CPC, and you can really see, I mean, where am I just spending way too much money to a point where it doesn't make sense? Again, performance max you can't control, typically averages out. But for search campaigns, I like to have a portfolio bidding strategy. Number one, to control the bid in connection to the ROAS target as well. Number two is to group a strategy across multiple campaigns, because the whole principle of data that I mentioned at the start and feeding it as much information as possible, you want to leverage that across as many campaigns as possible. And when you use a campaign level bidding strategy, what happens is Google needs to work harder to get more data, or it doesn't have the data to begin with. So what I meant is it has to work harder to find new converters, and it's not as optimized on its algorithmic sense as it would be if you're leveraging all conversions from multiple campaigns in that one bidding strategy. So I'll break it down into an example. Suppose you say you have 10 conversions in one campaign, 20 in the other, and 50 in the other. Okay. If you could just leverage all of those conversions into one bidding strategy rather than having one campaign optimizing on 50, one on 20, one on 10, well, then your campaigns would perform they would all perform better automatically. And again, if you have a portfolio bidding strategy, the algorithm is optimizing towards your ROAS target across all of these different campaigns, leveraging that 80 conversions that you have, not 10 or 20 for the one campaign. And who knows, maybe even that lower converting campaign just didn't have the potential for whatever reason because it didn't have enough data to perform well. Maybe it was a newer campaign. And I would pair that with a shared budget typically, again, where it makes sense, right? Because again, at the end of the day, if you're a smaller account, or honestly at scale as well, I've seen both auditing accounts, at 5K per month or 20, 50, 100K per month. Principles are typically the same. You only really want to start segmenting when you have a ton of data, right? So if you're a smaller account, I mean, just run a shared budget, run a portfolio bid strategy. And that way, you just funnel more data into more specific campaigns. And in turn, I mean, the algorithm is going to reward you, right? Because it's easier for it to piece together, new converters based on the data that you provided. So yeah, those are really the three, I'd say, main things that I'm noticing in accounts. Um, those are the pressing issues. Those can be solved within, I'd say, 30 minutes to an hour, just of jumping on the account, looking at, the data and assessing and just clicking a few settings. So hopefully, I mean, you can go back to your account, just do those quick fixes. I'm going to be making more videos kind of on the topic of this and how you can develop your account, really just off of the most common mistakes that I see. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these issues are fixable, or all of these issues are fixable. It's just about identifying kind of what's going wrong and how to tackle them. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.